Oh yeah, baby. A new Doom game. How long has it been since Eternal? 1? 2 years? It's been 5 years?! This game is the latest in the series. I thought Eternal was going to be the last, with the ending of the Ancient Gods Part 2 being you killing the Dark Lord, which is basically just the equivalent of Satan slash the Creator, and then you get put in a coffin at the end. Which I thought would have been a nice bow tie to put on the IP of Doom, but they have to do another. Every big games company always has to do another. Nintendo. Anyway, Doom Dark Ages isn't a continuation, it's a prequel. A prequel that comes somewhere before Doom 2016, which I feel like they don't tell you outright in the game. On paper, this game seems perfect. A medieval Doom game where you trench through a hellish gothic landscape fighting demons in a mech on foot and on a fucking robot dragon. This game tries a lot of new stuff for the series and does a lot of it well. I came into this game expecting some slop served to me like most other AAA games released today. And, drumroll please, it's actually really good. I feel like it's been so long that a massive game studio has released a game up to its own standard that hasn't just been pure fucking slop of a reused IP. Oh god! So I played this game on Game Pass because my subscription was ending and I had no plans of renewing it because I'm broke. And this game went from an 8 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10 with one Google search. This game is 120 Australian dollars. I'm going to give you some time to comprehend. And if there are any low IQ people in chat, here is a short explanation to kind of help explain it. If you're being paid $12 an hour, which is minimum wage in America, it would take you 10 hours to afford this. 2 5-hour shifts to afford a Doom game. And it took me 6 hours to beat this game. I played it on normal difficulty and died 3 times. I did around 80 to 90% average completion on every level, trying my best not to skip any secrets, and 6 hours of gameplay for 10 hours of working. This change in modern gaming is making me sick, like actually making me feel ill, and only encouraging pirating. If anyone is wondering, the question you have to ask yourself, is this ethical to pirate, is usually, if it's an indie game dev and the price is good, don't pirate. If it's a AAA game company that is pricing their games at over $100 or around that, do whatever the fuck you want. Sorry for the little rant, but I needed it. It's very, very needed. I cannot talk about this game without talking about the price. If you do want to play this game, it is available on Game Pass, as begrudgingly as that is, or you can pirate it. Time to actually talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is, well, it's Doom. If you've played any Doom game since 2004, it's all basically the same with a couple of different variations. They do try and do new stuff with every game, which I do appreciate. Not a lot of games companies at that level are doing that. But it all just feels the same to me. I came into this game expecting Doom slop like we all know, but what I didn't expect is for fucking Sekiro to slap me in the face. The parry mechanic in this game is really good, and I never thought Doom needed a parry mechanic, but I'm really happy it's here. It makes the combat so fresh and so attentive, and it's a mechanic that I wish they had in other Doom games. Another new mechanic in Doom Dark Ages is the different melee weapons. Well, sort of. Doom Eternal had the Crucible and the Sentinel Hammer. If you've played those games, you would know they're kind of boring. You get them kind of late in the game, and you barely get to use them in the game, and for one of the main marketing items of the game, they fucking suck. But they make it better in Dark Ages because the weapons feel unique, and they feel different to each other, and it feels like you aren't forced to use the newer ones as you go into the game. There are 3 melee weapons. The Gauntlets, which is just a basic 3-punch combo that when upgraded they stun. They have a pretty quick cooldown and high damage output. The other one is the Flail, which has high AoE damage with a slowish cooldown, and it's pretty cool. And lastly is the Mace, a 1-hit long cooldown high charge up machine. This is my favourite just because of how meaty it feels, It beats down big enemies with like one hit and refills your ammo pretty fast. There's nothing really to complain about there. I like how they changed the melee in this game, but with all of the good comes the bad. And the big thing for Doom, the guns. The guns are just Doom guns. The skull guns were cool. I really liked those. But as me and most other people do, they just kind of use the super shoddy for the whole game. There's no punishment for not doing that, and I really hate that. I feel like they should enforce you to actually use the other guns in a fight. I'm not saying completely outright remove them, I'm saying adding mechanics for you to benefit from switching. They did that once in one of the late game fights, where you have to switch to the plasma gun, the accelerator, in order to break a shield faster, which, well, I mean, you can just do that with any gun, but it's a lot faster with that, so yeah, you can just play through the entire game using one gun and not find a single issue. I think I did it, most people did it, and it just sucks. On another issue, the pacing of the game and the plot just feels really bad and hard to follow. I feel like every time you start getting into the story and the plot, it just dumps you into another one, and then another one, and then another one. It happens like 3 times, from the big castles in the linear levels to the non-linear battlefields and the random dragon ship combat, which just dips you in and out of repetitive levels, and the mech combat just being both really slow and out of nowhere. I'll touch on the mechs in a bit. It's dragon time. I really love dragons, and I really tried to love the dragon segments, but they were just slow, repetitive, and barely changed throughout the game. Granted, the first time is fun, and you're all like, whoa, dragon, fun, but all the other times it just feels like we haven't put a dragon part in the game in a while. Well, let's put the next level in and make it about that. No. Put it in the middle of the level. They aren't gonna like that. Oh, that's a great idea. Anyway, there aren't many good dragon parts in the game. Well, there aren't many dragon parts, but all of them just feel really slow and take you out of the pace of the game. But the mech battles are different. They feel good with the pacing of the game, but the actual gameplay of it's dog ass. The mech fighting gameplay just feels bad, all of your attacks feel slow, and everyone else's attacks feel slower. The only redeeming part about it is the last mech level, or I think it's the last level of the game as well. You fight Cthulhu, and it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad of a boss fight. That's a pretty L take if I'm being honest, but it wasn't that bad. Oh, right, the random dip into Lovecraftian horror in the middle of the game really surprised me. There is a whole section of the game where you go through the cosmic realm and you fight Cthulhu from inside of him, and this is really unique and actually one of the more redeeming parts of the game. I like it. Now, onto one of the main points I want to bring up, the boss fights. This game doesn't have a lot of actual boss fights. It introduces some of the harder enemies as somewhat pseudo-boss fights, but most of the game you usually just clear those within a minute or two. They're not much of a challenge, but when they actually do introduce boss fights, they are fun. The first boss fight of the game is Bishop Creed, which he has a boss bar, he has unique attacks, but he doesn't really feel like a boss. He doesn't really feel fun to fight at all. And the cutscene wasn't that great either. I feel like the whole point of a boss fight is it's meant to be challenging and hard, but I've only died once throughout the entire boss fights. But the boss fights only go up after Bishop Creed. Should I say all of these fights basically happen right after each other? They only happen at like the last 3 levels of the game, which I really wish they spread them out more and added more, because this game really only feels like it gets good at the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes. Everything in between is kinda ass. My favourite part of the game, and many other players, is Azarak. This is the best fight in the game. It feels so good, and you can't just gun your way through it like you can with every other fight in the game. You have to parry. You have to time attacks, and it's the only time in the game where I feel like they punish you for not using the mechanics of the game. This is the only time in the game where you have to actually slightly lock in, and it's so fun. Oh, also this fight has 3 phases, which necessarily isn't a bad thing, but he doesn't have that much variations of attacks. And on the last phase, he ends up killing your dragon, which just feels random. I feel like the dragon coming in, then dying, was just put there for shits and giggles. It doesn't feel well put in. But the fight was still pretty easy. Fun, but easy. You then fight him again right after. And this fight was just the same moves as the last one. This is almost comical for how lazy this is. The only difference is there's another person in the fight now, and it's the witch, and she's just not even a nuisance. She just kind of sits there and throws shit at you. She isn't really an issue. And after you fight all of the actual bosses of the game in a row, it just ends abruptly. It's so disappointing and so lazy how they did it. Look, this game is really good. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good to say about it, but the bad just outweighs it. This game leaves a bad taste in your mouth, even before you buy it. At a criminal price tag, I still can't get over that. Let's run a quick pros and cons list. Pros: it improves massively on the last game. The parry mechanics is fresh and done well, the level design is good and unique, and the plot is good. For as hard as it is to follow, it's not that bad. Cons: the price tag. No replayability. Like, actually zero. The puzzles are pretty boring. They've reused the same enemies like 1,000 times, like all other Doom games. There's only a good boss fight, which is the first Azarak boss fight, and the last half of the game just feels rushed. This is just disappointing, and I haven't even talked about the deluxe edition and the launch. Oh my god, the PC launch was horrible. Crashing every single minute, not even able to launch half of the time, but I try and ignore bad game launches if they fix them fast, which they did. But anyway, the launch is just water under the bridge. The ending of Doom Dark Ages was fine. The cutscenes were cool. But is this game worth buying? No. The price tag is just way too high. The only ever real option for most people playing this game would be to play it on Game Pass, which no one wants to do, or pirate it. But no one fucking wants to do either. Anyway, I've been up for way too long making this video, and I'm gonna go rip a fat scone, and I hope you have a good morning, day, noon, or night. My name is In It For The Money, and thank you for watching.